Hey guys, before I set the camera on me, little update. There's the blinking green light from one of the DSL modems that I purchased. That's a bit of a update on where I'm at with high-speed internet. It's low speed, high drag right now. So, I've got a technician coming out tomorrow to look at everything, and I got like a 3-week credit to my bill, which doesn't really help me. You know, I need the internet, not money. Who needs money? I need internet. And that's where my continuing problems so far are at. And yeah, I would be streaming right now. Right the fuck now. And I have this art project I want to do that involves some swatches here that I bought in order to create this art project. But I wanted to film from overhead and stream it while I'm talking to you guys. Not going to happen. Because internet's out. Again, it's been going on almost 3 weeks now. So, hopefully it gets fixed tomorrow morning. It's really gotten in the way of my creativity. You know, I have ideas that are floating around in my head, and I decided, you know what, I got the time, just not the internet connection. I'll just film this on my phone, get one of these ideas out there. And this one is about cryptocurrencies, and especially about the blockchain. Okay? So, I believe the blockchain, while it brings security to people's transactions, and that it's impossible to forge a transaction if it's going to get double-checked by 100 different computers that all have the same record independently stored on it, and they all try to verify against each other, and if it doesn't match up, then they reject the transaction. Yeah, that's awesome. You know, no longer can someone steal your wallet, steal the money out of your wallet. You know, electronic transactions are going to be like awesome in the future, right? Here's the problem with that. Trolls. Goddamn trolls. Especially fucking 4chan, right? But just trolls in general. They love to dig up information on other people. In years past, think of all the doxing situations that have happened online, right? People will dig for any little bit of information to throw it in your face and say, oh, I know this about you. Be scared. Be scared. You know? How many times have you heard a story about a politician who had a donation from such and such person that maybe at the time they didn't realize how it was going to play for them politically, but then later, you know, it turns out, oh, this person's actually a major player in this activist group or this lobbyist group, and you're taking money from them. Shame on you, you know. And because we have records for this, you know, these political donations, we have laws about being able to trace that money. Well, we have other things that have sprouted up, like PACs and super PACs that don't have to disclose who their donors are to get around things like that. They're basically donation middlemen, right? To hide the fact that sometimes the person that you're getting money from has some baggage, they have a reputation that you don't want to be associated with, right? So, here comes the blockchain, right? The blockchain, if the funds were transferred through that for political donations, then we'd be able to see who got money from who got money from who, just, you know, in an infinite regression back to the source of the money. And we'd be able to have conspiracy theories written about that because 3 people down the chain, the person who gave you that money was actually George Soros, and he just washed it through this company and then this person and then this company and then right to you. And so you're shill for George Soros, god damn it. Rah, 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 rah. So blockchain technology does not work for those purposes. It actually makes things worse because the more information there is out there to sift through, no matter how fine those needles are in the haystack, they will be used to create horrible conspiracy theory stories that will gain traction on social media. Even if there is no connection between the two parties, there will be a connection made by that little information trail. Okay? It could be just that the original person who had the funds decided to buy something from, someone on the internet, and completely separate from that person buys something from somebody else, that person buys something from someone else, and that person decides to donate to a politician, right? It could be just that people get connected by their information to an account and, they see, oh, look, you actually on the dark web paid for this porn. And we have a record of that transaction because you're no longer anonymous because we've connected this IP address to this address and that's your business office. Why are you looking at porn while you're supposed to be at work? Rah, 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 rah. The shit is not going to work. Right? People searching where the money is coming from. Follow the money. That is like so cliche, but it's true. People will follow the money and then their imaginations just run wild with all the explanations of, what was being done with the money. And that's enough evidence for a lot of people to like, share, and comment, right? And that's where the problem is. These internet shitstorms that brew from something as simple as somebody purchasing something, in private. Something that's legal to consume. Personally, I've had people try to dox me in the past just for having opinions on the internet. I've had people find my old addresses and throw that in my face. I've had people find some old real estate deals and throw that in my face. And those were like family related, like it wasn't even really me. I was just being a proxy for somebody who was mentally disabled at the time. And they're like, oh, we know that you had this house in this other state. Rah, you sold this. Rah. No. I was just appointed for that at the time. But still, people get a little bit of information and then they just think, oh, this will shock them that I have this, I had people throwing at me online that my girlfriend had said, oh, there's some construction down the street, and it makes it hard for us to get home because there's a little bottleneck. And then they pulled up a map of all the construction in Denver, and they're like, well, we know he lives around one of these areas, we're narrowing it down. Never mind that the map was probably really old because what I know from being on the ground here in Denver, that wasn't where the construction was anymore. But still, they throw that shit at you to try to shock you like, oh, we know a little bit more about you. And I've been a part of it as well. I have gone on my own investigatory searches where I was connecting, hey, why are these people donating to each other on Patreon, creating this no one gains anything effect except for both of your totals for how many dollars you're getting a month goes up. Really just Patreon is getting like a little percentage from you and you're really just paying Patreon. Why are you giving back and forth to each other? And why is this there this network of people who are giving back and forth to each other, and why do these people all seem to talk about the same topics, and they're all in this network, and they all seem to go out on speaking gigs together, at all these conferences. Why is it? I've done that before, and shown everyone the evidence. And you know what the end result was? Enough complaints being put to Patreon about the Graphtreon stuff, about being able to see who's giving to who. Enough complaints came in saying that this is harassment, that people know this information, and they're using this information to harass. Patreon actually gave options to their members to turn off the ability for people to see all that information. And so if you look at certain people who I've called out in the past on, say, Graphtreon, they're at a certain date when Patreon made those options available, they turned off the ability for anyone to see any information about them, right? Because whether or not there is fire where there's that smoke, they just don't want the internet shitstorm to happen, right? And so the ability to trace where the money is going had this effect where people might have stopped using Patreon and gone to a different service just because people could figure out where they were getting their money and who was giving it to them, right? So I really feel like the ability to trace this money is going to be what's the death knell of cryptocurrency. When people actually start using it, they're just going to create these digital records that people are going to decipher, and everything will come back on them. Who shops the most at Starbucks instead of giving to a charity will probably be one of the stories. And you'll see this person has given zero money to this charity, in any recordable way, but they spend $15 a day on Starbucks without giving $1 a day to help some starving Ethiopians. That's the shit that we're going to have to deal with because of the traceability of cryptos. That's my thoughts for the day. I don't know how much memory is left on my phone, to be honest, at this point, because I'm going on 3 weeks with no real good internet. So I'll cut this short, and maybe I'll transfer all my files from my phone again to blank it all out so I can go a couple more days if need be. Talk to you guys later.